Welcome, my man. Pleasure having you on for the first time, bro. How you doing?
I'm great. It's great to be here. Thank you for having me. Thanks for making the time to take the call. And it was great seeing you the other night. You offered to get something going, put a little conversation together, and I was happy to oblige. So thanks for reaching out. Thanks for setting this up.
Excellent, my man. Well, I did talk to you at one time. It was at your Cage Titans debut back in 2021, where you fought Christos Papadelis. That's a tough name, sorry. But you came away with a third round finish in there, man. Talking about that, man, the progression from that fight to this last fight where you just got a second round TKO finish, man. What's been the leaps and bounds in your training and your progression in this game?
I got to give all the credit in the world to my training partners and my coaches at Broadway Jiu Jitsu. Um, Without them, there are no leaps and bounds. There are no progressions. So I just tried to stay consistent over the last couple of years and become a little bit more comfortable in the cage. Only couple fights experience versus no fights experience is not too much of a difference, but it's enough to have a little bit of familiarity in there. The first fight was a great opponent. Last fight was a great opponent. Second fight was a great opponent. Just happy to have been able to showcase, like you said, the leaps and bounds, the skills that I have developed in between each and every fight. So, it was a great weekend last weekend. Um, without without the guys, coaches, the teammates who helped me prepare, might not be able to say the same thing. So
Well, as far as getting to this fight from last week, let's backtrack a little, my man. I didn't get
okay.
a chance to ask you about your, how you got into martial arts and all that stuff that led up to last Saturday, man. When I have new fighters on the show, I like to give a little background to people listening and how you got there, man. So how'd you become a mixed martial artist and an MMA fighter?
Yeah, I never thought I would step foot in the cage. So to be here now, 3 fights in, 3 wins is pretty surreal. But got into boxing back in high school. Was 14 at the time, freshman in high school. I realized I was never a big guy. I'm like, if I piss some of these guys off, I gotta learn how to do something. I gotta learn how to fight or something. And it was right before hockey season, so I remember there's like a couple like the older seniors on the team, like they looked like they're grown men compared to like me as a freshman. And they're kind of like we're doing like captain's practice and stuff, and they're like all in good spirits. There's always like a little bit you mess with the younger guys. And I'm like, man, I really need to learn how to fight. And then luck had it that the Cambridge Police Department was advertising and running a youth boxing program down to the Y in Cambridge, completely free for anybody in the school system in town. So I heard that on the announcement at the end of school one day. I was like, that's right up my alley. That's perfect. It's free. It's right nearby. And so I took him up on that. Had my parents sign a waiver because I was too young
Yep.
to, go in there myself. And started out there, kept up with that in between seasons, throughout high school. And then in college is where I really realized I had to learn more aspects. So I was fortunate. There was a ton of great clubs where I went to school at UMass Amherst. So got into the wrestling club, the jiu-jitsu club, did a little bit of karate, yellow belt, Shotokan karate. So that's on the resume. And then there was another school out there, New England Submission Fighting. So I ended up joining there and trying to really round out as a mixed martial artist, develop all my skills. And then upon graduation, I moved back to Boston to work and ended up at Broadway Jiu Jitsu. And I've been there every day I can since. So
Uh, how
fast
many
right
how,
just to today.
how many years have you been at Broadway since you walked in that door?
It's been a little over 4 now. So I guess it would be 4.5. Of course, we lost a few months in there with
Yeah.
COVID. But yeah, I graduated college 2019.
So, if my math is correct, about a year into Broadway, you got your first amateur fight, maybe a year and a half training with
Yeah,
them.
year and a half.
So, my man, did you have, you started off in boxing and then you
Mhm.
progressed into wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Did you do any amateur boxing, any of that going on?
No, I really just picked it up as exercise, and I guess the theory was self-defense. I never wanted to have to fight. And yeah, no, just I was doing it mostly in between seasons in high school, in between seasons of hockey and lacrosse, and no real uh, amateur fights or not even really too much sparring back in high school or anything like that. It wasn't until college when I started to take it much more seriously.
So I would imagine when you went to Broadway, they had everything you need. I'm sure you still go to a boxing gym and get work outside there, but that is your main gym at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah,
right.
I do pretty much everything at Broadway Jiu Jitsu. And I've dropped up a couple times to Kyle Bachniak's new gym. He just opened up North Andover Jiu Jitsu. You saw a couple of his guys fight this weekend too. They looked great. The Nichols brothers. So yeah, go up there every once in a while just to support Kyle and see some of his guys. But yeah, it's all Broadway Jiu Jitsu.
Excellent, my man. Well, that's a pretty good progression right there. Boxing, jumping into wrestling, and then some jiu-jitsu. Now, looking at your fights, man, the first fight with Christos, man, a jiu-jitsu, a leg lock guy there, a guy that really likes to dive in there and attack those legs, man. That jiu-jitsu and wrestling came into play in that fight. Man, what was that like? You know what I mean? Your background was mostly boxing, jumping in there.
Yeah.
What was that like? What was the thought going in there against someone that's going to be diving from them legs and everything?
Yeah, I mean, I knew he had the upper hand in technical grappling, so I tried to make it as, uh, you know, the least technique as possible. I tried to make it a dogfight. And I mean, I even 2 years ago was very confident in my grappling, knowing how good the instruction is at Broadway, knowing how good the people I train with are. But Chris was at an incredibly high level, and you've only seen uh, him go to even higher levels in the last couple of years. So I pretty much prepared as best I could to defend the situations I knew I was going to end up in, and had to tough out a couple of them. But um, yeah, that was a I was outgunned in terms of technique in that fight. And so the great thing over the last 2 years has been increasing my technical proficiency in jujitsu and in a lot of the leg lock positions where I actually ended up in Saturday night, I was just much more comfortable. We had drilled, staying safe in those positions with my head coach, John Clark, Sean Fisher, another black belt, and my great friend, Chris, who just got his black belt at Broadway. So all of these guys have been helping me prepare and get comfortable in those positions, just knowing that I might end up in them again. And sure enough, Saturday night, end up in multiple, single leg X positions, outside Ashi positions, even 50-50. And I just was comfortable enough, even against, a pretty fresh opponent. This was the first round, comfortable enough to, defend um, where their feet were on my hips, where their grips were on my leg. Obviously, no heel hooks were allowed, but I still had to, think about the threat of the straight ankle lock, the toe hold. I got Aoki locks in the first fight. I didn't even know what that was back then. Now I know what it is. So I know, definitely made a lot of technical jumps over the last few years, which helped me Saturday night stay right there and just throw a couple punches.
Yeah, a couple of punches. Let me get back to that
Yeah.
first fight because then we'll get into this couple of punches
Okay.
on Saturday night. Because the first fight, I mean, you talked about, man, you weren't as technical as Christos, but you were putting damage on him. You were draining his tank, and you were making him work, and you were putting damage on him during transitions and while he was trying to, take them legs on you. Last Saturday night, seems like the same thing was going on. You were laying down some damage while he was going for those moves, man. And the being technical was definitely a part of it, man. Your ground and pound was incredible and relentless, man. I think one of my media partners put up a clip of it, and I think he says
Yeah.
something like Danny Jefferson just threw 6,500
Yeah.
something punches in this round, man. What was going through there, man? I mean, it was relentless, and you were just trying to send him through the floor there.
Yeah, I definitely there's a little bit of like smelling blood, kind of thinking, all right, I can get him out of here. There's also, I mean, when the ref's saying, hey, do something, I'm going to stop the fight. To me, that's like, all right, I'm that close to getting the fight stopped. Just land a couple more good ones. Um, yeah, fortunately, I had prepared very well conditioning wise for this, so I felt like I could have done that all night, and I kind of, I did it all night as long as the night lasted. Um, yeah, I thought, the ref was going to stop at any second, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I guess if he's not going to stop it, I'll just land a couple more, and yeah, we'll rack that shot count up. Hopefully, nobody in the Cage Titans team has to count strikes because yeah, I think I saw Mike afterwards. He's like, "You're just spamming punches." Yeah, I was like playing a video game, button smashing.
I think Spectation Sports. I don't know if they do it for the prelims, but
Mm-hmm.
the main card. I think they do the statistics on how many kicks, all that stuff. So you might want to go look at their website because it was pretty impressive, my man. Going into that second round, I mean, you almost had him finished in the first. What was the
Mm-hmm.
thought process there? What was being said to you while you were sitting there with your corner?
They gave me like some small pieces of technical advice. I had done a good job defending the takedown, but it was quite clear that the takedown was a huge part of my opponent's game plan. So mostly just looking out for when he shoots, this is X Y Z what we're looking to do. And there was a bit of the you know kind of like, all right, you go out now and you break this guy, and or maybe he had already been broken. And that was kind of like in the corner. You keep putting it on him, and I just went out there, tried to do what I was told. Keep up the pressure and keep up doing what I had success with in the first round.
Well, I think 55 seconds into that second round, that's when the fight was called, man. What was the feeling? I mean, first of all, let's compare it. The feeling in that first fight when you got that finish, compared to the second finish in your third fight. What was any difference there of the excitement level?
I think the first one, the excitement level of the first one can't be matched. Just because I was going into that, as my debut, there is nothing to back up what I say, my skill set. It's just, hey, you think you're any good? Go out there and prove it. And so, the first one, it was that realization of, all the training I'd ever done in my life. You know, you went out there, proved proved you can do it. You proved you can win. Proved you can stop a resistant opponent. Um, so to get that for the first time, I don't think you can match that excitement. Um, this time it was definitely exciting, but it was exciting for different reasons. We don't need to get into it, but
A little more business a little more business like this time. This
this
time
time
around.
was definitely just business. Yeah.
All right, my man. Well, let's talk a little bit about more business, man. Looking at your record 3-0. You're fighting once a year here. You fought once in 2021 for your debut,
Mm-hmm.
2022, and 2023. Once a year. What's going on there? You got a lot going on outside the cage and training. And are you gonna try to get into the cage more? Are you happy getting them one a year things in there, beatdowns?
They're not all beat downs. Um, no, that's just kind of how the time has worked out the last couple of years. I mean, I'm not gonna say I have a lot going on outside the cage. Everybody's got a lot going on, but I do have a job, which is important to me, and um, I definitely had to take a lot of time between the first two fights because I had some job related training throughout the spring of 2022. This last year, I maybe should have made the March card work. A bunch of my buddies fought in March, but it just was going to be tight with my schedule. So a bunch of my training partners fought about 6 months in between their fights. I should have tried to make that one work, but it just didn't happen. So yeah, right now it's been 11 months since I fought last year. I I mean, I'm only whatever it is 5 6 days out from this last fight, so I have not looked too far into the future. I'm just taking it one day at a time, but I don't I'm not taking the year in between because that's what I want to do. It's definitely been good to develop skills in between the fights. I think like you had talked about a little bit earlier, there's definitely been progression in my abilities. So that's the main goal is just to keep getting better, just to keep going, training, learning new things, and sharpening up what I'm already more adept at. So right now, I'm just really thinking about getting back to training, kind of rounding out some other areas of my game, which maybe I'll get to use in the future, maybe I won't. But just trying to fall back in love with the training process. So I don't think I don't think too much about where things are going to be. Like, I'm not thinking a year from now. I'm not thinking, oh yeah, I'll just fight next fall. But I'm also not thinking. I'm not also not one of the guys who's going to come on here and talk about how busy I'm going to be and my big plans for this, that, and the other. Just kind of like to go day by day, work hard, and then see where I end up.
Well, let me tell you, my friend.
You tell me whatever you need.
You're 3-0. You got two
Yeah,
finishes, a great finish from a great competitor out of a great gym. Last card for Cage Titans. You fought for
yeah,
Cage Titans 3 times. They are, I would say, the biggest promotion in New England and
hmm
down the East Coast some way, some far.
yeah,
They're going to be looking for you, bro. You're 3-0 as a amateur featherweight. You're on the rankings.
yeah.
People are going to be looking for you. Your name's going to be mentioned. Does that entice you to get in there a little sooner than later?
Uh, I definitely will kind of roll with what you just said. Like Cage Titans puts on a phenomenal show, probably the biggest show in New England, and I gotta say thank you to them for even giving me the opportunity, these three opportunities, to fight tough opponents, to test myself, to you know bring fans, let people watch the spectacle of a couple crazy guys in their short shorts fighting. So thank you to everybody at Cage Titans, Mike. I'm you know third fight. I'm just really starting to be able to realize how much work has to be put into these events. The first one, even the second one, there's so much going on, I can't process all of it. But now I kind of see like, man, Mike's doing a ton behind the scenes to get all this happening. Andy, Nick, and social media, everybody else, uh, they do a hell of a job. So thank you, Cage Titans, the whole team, everybody else whose names I don't know. But yeah, I imagine they'd want me, back there in the near future. But I just do what I'm told when it comes to what my coach wants. So
It,
we'll see. I'll let him handle all that.
it sounds
He tells
good,
me what's
man.
up.
It
he
sounds
tells
great.
me where to go, when to jump, how high, and I just try to do it.
Sounds good to me, man. Sounds like you're in great hands there, bro. And it looks like you're kind of calling the shots and how you want to, go in the future here. But like I
Yeah,
said, Cage Titans and some people are going to be mentioning your name, man, because you're an exciting fighter, and man, you're a great kid, man. So no one's going to be coming in here
appreciate
as
that.
with anything other than wanting to challenge you. And man, other
Appreciate
than
that. Thank you,
that,
Steve.
man, last couple of things. You said you had some buddies that were on the card with you. How'd they make out? And how does that feel to go into battle with other fighters that you're preparing for to go to war?
It felt great. I mean, I know all these guys would probably love to talk to you as well, and I can only speak for myself. But there's three guys from Broadway. We had all of our coaches there. There's the two Nichols brothers from North Andover with Kyle Bachniak, and a bunch of other coaches there helping them. I think they had multiple guys up, like from Eddie Alvarez's gym, and Rico DeStrulio's there with them. Like I said, we had five coaches from Broadway for us. We were right next to Phil Locino. There was like 15 of us in the back, just in the zone. Just like you said, getting geared up for war. So it was hectic because there was so much energy back there. But at the same time, it does feel good to have those guys beside you that you've been working towards a similar goal with and along, kind of having them along for the ride. And it's motivating, and it's everybody works harder because of it.
Excellent, man. Well, pleasure, bro, getting to know you and talk to you. One thing I gotta say, man, you're a 3-0 fighter. You're a prospect now. You need to get on social media. You need to start throwing your stuff out there. You know what I mean? Get a friend that and
I know.
give him your login and let him just like throw shit up there, man. Because as far as me, this is what I do.
Yeah.
I watch New England fighters, and if you're not blasting yourself out there, people aren't gonna, they're not gonna pay attention. Throw it out there, kid,
Yeah.
because
Well, that's why
you
I gotta
definitely
thank
have.
you.
Go
I
ahead.
gotta say thank you to you for like asking me the other night and sending me a message because I don't talk much and I don't post much. So like, thanks to you, Steve. Thanks to everybody else who does media, Nick, and everyone who was backstage the other night. Because without you guys doing what you do, I'd just be on the sideline keeping quiet. So thank you for the opportunity, Steve.
Oh, definitely, man. Thank you also, bro. You guys are what's keeps me going here. You know what I mean? New guys, new ladies, and the prospects. And I'm all about getting you guys to the next level and helping you along, man. So I want to see more out of you, kid. But
I know.
you do it your way, man. And we'll be waiting for whatever comes, man. Because you're definitely a force in that cage, man. I'm glad to see it.
I appreciate that. Very kind.
Anything else you want to say before I let you go? Training partners, social media, get that social media out there. And thank yous to family, anything like that. And I'll let you go, my man, and enjoy this weekend wedding you're going to.
Yeah, just all the usual. I already spewed about Broadway in my post fight. I spewed about him today. So my coaches, training partners, they're all, um, you know, without them, there's no me. So thanks to all those guys. Yeah, my family, they've heard it all this last week too. That they put up with me. So thank you to them. And yeah, like I said, thank you Cage Titans, Mike Polver, Andy, Nick, everyone else. Thank you, Steve, and everyone who's been doing the media for all these events. It's like I said, I'm just starting to realize how much work it is. I just kind of should open my eyes a bit more.
Nah, you're good, man. You stick to the
Okay.
fight. You stick to the fighting.
Okay.
We'll do everything else around you. But with that said, Danny, definitely talk to your training partners. They want to get a word with me. Just tell them to hit me up on how I hit you up. Tell them I'll get right to them. All right.
Sounds good.
All right,
Appreciate that.
all right, my man. You have a great day, man. Have a great weekend, and
You too, Steve.
we'll definitely chat as soon as your name is starting to be mentioned, man, and you have something to train for.
You got it.
All right,
We'll
bro.
see you around, Steve. Thank
You
you.
have a good day.